Hey guys, welcome back to TheCrackedNation. I'm Caleb Henry. I am here with Joe from Agree2Disagree. We're collabing on this video. If you're watching this video, you better have watched the other video first. I'll post that right in the middle of the screen. Click on that first. This is our spoiler-filled review of Iron Man 3.
Oh, yeah!
We're not really going to go into a review. It's just going to be the things we did and didn't like about it in depth. So let's get started. Start us off with your biggest thing that you liked about the movie. I'm guessing it had to do with Ben Kingsley, but let's...
It was Ben Kingsley.
Yeah.
It was Ben Kingsley. The Mandarin, not Mandarin.
That's a great way to put it. Mandarin, not Mandarin. You will see me coming.
You'll never...
See, I can't do that
him.
voice. You can do the voice perfectly. At least it sounds like
I
it.
loved him. I would consider myself a teacher. So cool. So cool. Such a badass villain. I really wish they just went the predictable route with him. And, like, just have him the villain, him fight Iron Man. It's predictable, but that would have been so much cooler.
Yep. I felt like he was such a great character, and the trailers had him as this great villain. You're like, yes, it's Ben Kingsley. Like, this guy's one of the greatest actors of our time. And then they just, like, halfway through the movie, you find out he's an actor, and he's not even a villain. He's just a drunkard, and you're like, what?
That annoyed me so much. I was hoping, I'm like, nope, there's another Ben Kingsley out there. I'm like, that's going to be the real one. I'm like, they wouldn't do this to themselves.
Or I thought he was totally faking it, and he was going to, like, pull a gun and, like, get out of there. I was like, dude, that'd be awesome. But
why would they do that?
They should have gone the cliche route, and it would have been so much better. And that's rare that you say that, but it totally is true.
The first half of the movie was this type of terrorist type thing. It was so cool. With the TV interruptions.
Yeah.
My favorite scene, it had to be my favorite scene, was where he put his number in the president's phone and that whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That was so badass. Especially for an Iron Man movie. This felt like a different type of movie.
Right. I felt like it was going to get really dark at that point when he put the gun to the guy's head and then he shot. You're like, oh my goodness, this is intense. And you find out it was all a joke. And I was like, really? And then you find out who the real villain is. And as much as I love Guy Pearce as an actor, and I love him, he was not a good villain in this movie.
The character. Like I said in the other video, I think it's the character. I think it's the writing.
Yeah.
It was the character. He was one-dimensional. He was flat, bland. He got his ass kicked by Pepper Potts for some reason.
Okay, I'm touching on that right now. The biggest con I have, well, you know, pros and cons, biggest issue I have with the movie is the way that the villain, all the bad guys are. That, like, lava? Like, what are they? And I just felt like it was such a cop-out. Like, what is happening? And then, of course, Pepper at the end. I was like, no, now she's not actually human. But, of course, at the very end, you find out maybe he fixes her and changes her back. But, no. I just didn't like that.
Mandarin.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like Iron Man did.
Right, and I hate it.
This should have been called Pepper Potts.
Yeah, it's the biggest issue I have with The Dark Knight Rises. When Catwoman kills Bane is my least favorite part in the whole movie. When she kills Mandarin was my least favorite part of this movie. I was like, why? I hate it when the hero does not kill the villain. Like, it's set up for that. Come on. And no, even with his 50 Iron Man suits flying around, he couldn't beat him. But then Pepper sits here and I don't even know how they... I guess Iron Man kind of... How did he die in the end? I can't remember.
He died like 4 times.
I can't remember the exact reason he died, but it was lame. I was not happy with that character.
They should have called this... I got 2 separate titles for this. Not Iron Man 3. This should have been Pepper Potts or Home Alone Iron Man Edition. I think both of those names would suffice.
Home Alone Iron Man Edition. Oh gosh, yeah. I'm gonna one issue I've had with Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 and the Avengers is their inconsistency in stuff that Iron Man has. Like the way he's powered. Okay, that arc reactor is supposed to have so much power in it that it can like never run out. And yet his suit is always running out of power. And that just never made sense to me as why his suit would run out of power. And I know that's just part of it. You have to have that or he's a super, you can't beat him. But I felt like they should go better ways around it. And again, in this one, he's always out of energy. And I was like, just get in your good suit finally. Like, he wasn't in his good suit the whole movie. He was in that
I
prototype
don't
that
get
didn't work.
why they do that. Because we've seen this before. Like,
Mhm.
Low power, like, we've seen this from the beginning. Like,
Yep.
think of something else now. Don't just keep repeating it low power.
Yeah, there's big issues with this movie, and I feel like it's one of those, like, I like it now, and I think the more I watch it, I'm either going to hate it more and more, or I'm just going to get used to it and just love it. Like, I think it's going to... I need to see it more than once, but first impression, I was like, great, fun movie, but by no means is it quality when it comes to, like, technical things.
I'm indifferent. I was loving it so much until the Mandarin wasn't the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Then it just went downhill. Then the other guy just started breathing fire, and I said it. I said it to the person I was with. I can buy aliens. I can buy wormholes. I can buy gods from different dimensions. Once this man starts breathing fire for no reason, I'm gone.
This isn't Game of Thrones. Come on. People can't breathe fire.
And they never discussed that. He just breathes fire one time, and at the end, he gets a mask put on him. If he breathed fire, he probably would save himself. It made no sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, why didn't he just breathe
like
fire on Iron Man? It was just bad. Horrible writing, I felt like. And I don't know what it is about the villain or his character that I just hate. I think it's so cheesy.
It was nothing. The character was nothing.
Yeah.
I really wish they just had Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley in that role had so it's like they wanted us to think that was bad. It's I don't know what they were trying to think with that. Like, oh, we got you guys. you guys fell for it. Like, no,
like,
we're
okay,
in.
I did fall for it, but I hate it.
Yeah.
And the humor after that, it was almost like they switched writers right at that point, because it was
like
really
a
great movie. And then the second that you got fooled, it was like cheesy puns and bad jokes and everything. I was like, yeah. I was like, First half of this movie, one of the best action superhero movies I've ever seen. Just loved it.
Awesome. And I really wish it kept going that way. The Mandarin was so...
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, that scene's my favorite scene with the cell phone, and I thought that was done so well, it made me forget that I was in a superhero movie. Not destroying superhero movies, just taking it to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
And as any villain, that was so cool. And the call, I knew he was gonna pick up, but I was waiting for, I'm gonna let it go to voicemail. But
yeah, that would have been hilarious if he's just like, it like stops ringing, he's like, took too long, and then shoots him or something like that, and you're like, it was freaking, like, no.
Instead, he said no words. It was still badass. Ben Kingsley, right. I want to see some uncut version where it was just him the whole time.
Dude, he is one of the greatest actors. I mean, he can play Gandhi, and then he can go play this guy who plays two completely different roles in the movie. Yeah. And speaking of that, like, moment in the movie where you're like, oh, it's suddenly a different person, like, how did that work? When Rebecca Hall's character, the girl, I can't remember her name in the movie, but the actress is Rebecca Hall. Yeah, I think her. When you found out that she was actually bad also, you're like, what? Like, did everybody have to be good then bad? Like, it's like every person flipped.
And then she dies, and she served no purpose whatsoever.
Yeah, at all.
She explained the backstory kind of, but like, no one still, like, they didn't explain that much about that. Like,
no, it was, there were big issues.
Main thing I hated too, the beginning where you saw Guy Pearce and the whole on the roof thing. Yeah. I called it there on. I knew that they were going to do the two villains. Like, I just knew. I didn't know spoilers, but I'm like, they got to be doing two villains. And I thought he was going to be the second villain. And I'm like, don't tell me that this is all revenge for leaving him on that roof and not going to say hi to him. And that's what it seemed like for a very long time. I mean, he said some other reason this isn't about Tony, it's about America or something. But that's what it seemed like for the longest time, that he was just getting revenge because he left him hanging.
And I want to know how come nobody's ever realized that this company AIM is so big and powerful? Like, Tony would have known this stuff. He's the smartest guy in the world. He has all the technology he ever needs. He would have picked up that stuff's being built over there, or people are becoming this lava however that works. But
We sound
yeah.
like we're nitpicking, and you can't really nitpick with a superhero movie.
Right.
But it's just because they
it sounds like
overlook
nitpicking,
these.
but it's not really nitpicking. These are big issues.
Yeah, it's not nitpicky. They overlooked it. It seems like, and just didn't care to explain it. I don't know why they did that.
I just felt like the writing was poor, and I think it really all comes down to the writing. I think the acting, they had good actors, obviously. They had good directing. It was just the script was poor. And because, right in the middle, you can tell when the script changed. And I was like, bad writing from second half of the script. And I don't know. Maybe they just wanted that, but I wouldn't have purposely done that.
Yeah. When it comes down to me, my main issue is the Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
That could completely transform the movie had they kept going with that. Yes, it would have been predictable, but I feel like it would have been so much better. And he made for an awesome character, an awesome villain. I don't know why they do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I was surprised. I didn't like it.
Not the Avengers, all the Marvel movies in general have not had good villains. You had the Green Goblin in the very first Spider-Man. I thought he was a great villain. Great villain. And then you really haven't had any good ones until maybe Loki. And he would be the other one. I don't even think he's a great villain. I would say he's a good villain. So they're really lacking on great villains. And I felt like Ben Kingsley was going to be that great villain. I was like, he's going to be the Batman's type. Yeah, he was going to be so memorable. He was going to be Bane's, rival here for best villain of the last year. Or, well, I guess it's 2 different years now, but you know what I mean? And just didn't do it. It was just like completely flat. And I was like, really? You're going to say that Guy Pearce's character is the villain? Really?
It was flat, one-dimensional, bland. I didn't get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. It's kind of a long video, but, it's supposed to be. It's a spoiler-filled review.
It's Iron Man, so.
Yeah, it is. It is. I hope we can do more of these videos together. I'm guessing we probably will be able to. It's been a ton of fun. It gets kind of boring just talking to the screen by yourself. So, thank you for tuning in. This is The Cracked Nation. I'm Caleb Henry. Make sure you check out Joe's channel over at Agree2Disagree. There'll be a big link. Click right in the middle. Yep. Takes a tiny bit of effort. We had a ton of fun doing this review. And watch the other video on his channel. And we want to make our subscribers go up. So if he doesn't have like 50 more subscribers in a week, then you guys didn't do your job. So make sure and subscribe. Well, thanks for being here, Joe. I've had fun.
Thank you. This has been great.
Do it some other time. See you later, man.
Yes.
Peace.